Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the homestead. Well, it is a fantastic day. Lots of new things happening on the homestead. Today, we're going to be sharing some of those very first things that we're going to be experiencing with you.
As you saw in our last video, gardening season is about done, except for the things that we're growing in the greenhouse over the winter. So that brings our attention back to all of the animals that we raise here on the homestead. Over the summer, we bring you guys a lot of gardening type videos, and sometimes we forget that you don't get to see the animals a whole lot. So we've got some brand new things going on with animals. We want to show you those today, but we're going to start over here by Hope and her babies. Now, you guys have seen the babies before, but we want to show you how well they're doing, and then announce that you guys picked the name for the new baby by voting on our channel page. Well, you can see that Hope and her babies are doing great. You guys have been asking a lot of questions about how they are doing. I think Hope might be the friendliest cow in the world. What do you guys think? The reason she's up here right now, though, and the reason that she is so interested in me right now is because this is the time of morning that she gets her grain. So let's go get her a little bit of grain, and then we'll talk a little bit more about how the babies are doing and what we ended up naming that second baby. You ready for your grain, Hope? Let's go. Now we're still giving Hope some grain every day so that her milk production stays up and so that her body condition stays good. Even though we're not milking her every day anymore, it's important to make sure that she's producing enough milk to raise both of these babies and so that she just stays in good condition. The chickens think I brought that out for them though. Well, now that Hope has had her breakfast, it looks like it's nap time for her and the babies. Just some time to relax in the sun. It was actually a pretty chilly night last night, so I'm sure the sun feels really good after sleeping outside overnight. They do have a barn to go in, but most of the time they choose to stay outside anyway.
Well, you guys, I think that you've waited long enough. The excitement has been building about the name of the new calf.
Now, we named Hope's calf that she gave birth to. His name is Henry. Henry is half Jersey and half Angus. But as far as the new calf, we left that up to you guys.
On our community tab on our YouTube page, we gave you all 4 names to choose from, and we took a poll, and the majority of you voted to have the new calf named Hudson. Hudson came to us from a dairy farm. He is a dairy breed.
Dairy breeds in general just are a more slim kind of cow. They're not bred for meat, really, although we will be raising him for meat. But you'll see, yes, the Henry has the shape of more of a beef cow and will be a bigger cow in the end. Now, the next thing that we want to show you guys is probably one of the biggest things that we've ever done in our homesteading career. Let's go for a walk. We have something to show you. So you guys, this week we decided to purchase some of the cows that have been living on this property. We actually ended up purchasing 10 of the cows.
We've been showing you glimpses throughout the summer of these cows in the background. We've talked a little bit about them, but we have officially purchased 10 of these cows and we couldn't be more excited.
Now these cows are beef cows. These cows are exclusively for meat. These are a mix of 2 breeds called Limousine and Hereford. and we are just so excited to have them. They're just absolutely gorgeous cows, and they've been living on this property. Well, this herd has been kind of a continuous herd on this property for, you know, a very long time, 30 plus years. And these are all have been raised right here. They're familiar with the land, and we're excited to be able to keep them right here on the farm.
The whole herd that was here when we first bought this place, there was about 33 total cows, including calves and including the bull. We've held back 10 of them that are in the age range of about 2 years old to 6 years old, and right now they should all be bred.
Now, our original plan was to also purchase the bull that was part of this herd, but kind of at the last minute we decided not to do that, and there were several reasons why we did that. First of all, the bull that was here was starting to get a little bit on the old side as far as a good breeding bull. He was about 7 years old. The other thing is that because the previous owner had always kept the bull with the herd, that meant that there was breeding going on throughout the year, which means calving was taking place throughout the year as well. So after a lot of discussion with other people that we know who raise cows, they all suggested that we should probably get rid of the bull that was here, or find a way to separate the bull, which we decided to get rid of the bull, and then we'll purchase a new bull next year after all of these cows have had their calves.
Our plan is to have a new bull and breed these cows in June so that they're having calves in the spring, March, April, and then we'll have them have their calves all at the same time, so it's easier to go find the calves, take care of the calves, know where their moms are at, rather than having them give birth all throughout the year.
Now, there's a few reasons why we wanted to keep these cows. First of all, having these beef cows will be an extra income source for our homestead. Because we can produce enough hay right here on the homestead to feed them, it really doesn't cost us a whole lot to raise these cows throughout the year. They've got plenty of land to graze during the warm months, and then we can produce enough hay to raise these cows without having to go out and purchase hay. Besides them being an income source for the homestead, they also help keep the land well grazed and really keep things under control. If we didn't have all of these cows or some animal to keep the place grazed, it would turn back into kind of just a wild jungle in no time. And because a lot of this is pretty rocky ground and on pretty big hills, there's really no way to get out and bush hog everything. So it would really just turn into a wild, wooded area in no time at all.
The main reason why we decided to keep some of this herd rather than getting different cows is that these cows know the boundaries of this property. There's a lot less chance that they're going to be exploring their new land and escaping, and they just know the land here really well. We just thought that would be a great idea.
Now, we've gotten quite a few questions in the past when we're showing the cows here on our property because you guys are confused by the fences everywhere. You think that the other side of the fence is someone else's property. It's not. Right now I'm actually standing in our hayfield. This side of the property is one of the paddocks for the cows. This property is set up for rotational grazing, so we can actually move the cows from one paddock to another as the grass gets too eaten down. Now, we've gone through quite a drought this year. We haven't had any substantial amount of rain in several months. So the grass is in short supply. In fact, a lot of the farmers around here are already starting to feed hay, which is very early compared to a normal year. We're fortunate that here on our land, we still have quite a bit of grass for the cows to eat. These upper areas are a bit eaten down, but down in some of the lower areas, there's still a lot of grass. Now, when talking to the previous owner of these cows here on this land, he normally didn't start to feed hay until sometime around the end of December. Right now we're in the middle of October, and like I said, a lot of the farmers around here are already having to start feeding hay. We're hoping we can put off feeding hay at least until the middle of November, which would be great. But who knows, if we get some more rain, if this rain comes in the next few days and the temperature stays fairly warm, maybe the grass will grow enough that we can even make it into December before we need to start. Now, the previous owner had about 20 or 22 cows that he would overwinter. Now, that means he had to feed hay to that many cows. because we only have the 10, because we only decided to keep the 10 youngest cows, we'll have more grass available for these cows and we'll be able to feed less hay. The reason we decided to choose the 10 is because we really feel like, and after talking to the other owner, that this will be the amount of cows that it'll take to keep this place grazed and in good condition. In fact, we want to take you guys over to the other side of the property so you can look across a fence that doesn't belong to this property and you can see the difference that the cows make when it comes to keeping a place under control. Okay, we're over on the other side of our property and you can see here's one of our boundary fences. Now, on the other side of the fence here, this land used to belong to the same owners as the land that we own. Many years ago they sold it off and it's no longer being used for cattle. And you can see the big difference between having an animal on the land to keep it grazed versus not having an animal on the land to keep it grazed. You can see just how much of this brush has grown up and how many trees have grown up because there's no animal pressure on the land keeping that all down. So this is one of the reasons why we absolutely knew that when we bought this much land that we would need to have some type of animal, preferably the cows, here to keep it grazed down. There's one more really exciting thing that's happening on the homestead right now, and that is with the pigs. Let's go take a look at them. We've got something really exciting that I know a lot of you have been asking about. Well, we're over by the pigs and you can see that this is our sow pen. This is where we have our two sows, Myrtle and Mildred, but Charlie's over here too. This is the first year that we're going to be breeding these Idaho pasture pigs, and really the first year that we're breeding pigs and going to be having baby pigs on the homestead at all. We're so excited. We've been raising pigs now for quite a few years, but in the past we've always purchased young pigs or feeder pigs in the spring, raised them up, and then processed them in the fall. This will be our first time actually breeding pigs and having the babies right here on the farm.
We put Charlie in with the girls about 4 or 5 days ago, and at that time it looked like both of the sows were in heat. So we're hoping for the best that maybe they've already been bred, but we're going to keep him in here for a while just to make sure. If the sows get pregnant soon, we should be having babies about the beginning of February, and that means we'll have piglets going home to their new homes at the end of March, beginning of April.
Not only is this the first year that we're going to be breeding our own pigs, but this is also the first year that we're raising Idaho pasture pigs. Last spring, we had a hard time finding pigs to raise, the feeder pigs like we normally do. And that made us realize that relying on someone else to do the breeding of pigs for us just wasn't something we wanted to do anymore. So we sought out to find a breed that would be perfect for a small farm or homestead like ours. And that led us to the Idaho pasture pigs. We actually found someone not too far from us who had these for sale. We bought all of these from the same person. This one here is Myrtle, this is Mildred, and this is Charlie. He's our boar. Now, one of the things that really drew us to the Idaho pasture pigs is the amount of time that it takes for them to get to kind of a standard butcher size. When we're raising pigs to process or to raise them for meat, we're always looking for a pig that can get to that 250 to 300 pound mark in about 8 or 9 months. In fact, we've got 3 of them that we're raising for meat this year, and they have made it to that size in just the right amount of time. But the really nice thing about these is when they get to full size, they don't max out at 700 or 800 pounds like a normal pig. They max out at 400 or 500 pounds, which makes them much more manageable for a small farm or homestead like ours.
The personalities for these pigs is just amazing. We've been raising pigs for our family for, I don't know, 6 years, I think. The other breeds of pigs that we have raised, when they're about butcher size, they get kind of intimidating with their behavior. They're not being mean, they're just so strong. They're knocking into you, they're rooting things up, they're chewing on your shoes, and these guys just don't do that. They're just so relaxed and chill. I mean, this is a full-size boar. He is about as big as he's gonna get, and a lot of times full-size boars can get pretty aggressive. But this guy, I mean, this is what he does like 75% of the time. And the girls, they want to be fed, they want to be scratched and rubbed, and that's about it. They're just a wonderful temperament, so perfect for this size homestead like we have.
The other nice thing about the Idaho pasture pigs is because of the shape of their snout, they don't do a lot of rooting. You can see that it's kind of turned up, and that makes it so that they're better at eating things off the ground instead of having to dig under the ground to get things. Now, we're in fall time right now, so a lot of what was in this paddock here, which is about 1/4 of an acre in size, has died back. But even in the summer, they walk around and they love to graze on all of the weeds that are growing in here, the little brush that's growing in here. They love to eat the acorns off the oak trees, but they don't do a ton of damage to the ground itself, which is very nice and a lot different than the other pigs that we've raised.
I'd say they still root a little bit, but only like a couple inches on the top of the ground versus, 12 inches in some cases. We've had some pigs that dig so far down and they'll unearth big, huge boulders with their noses. These guys, they just are not as destructive to the land, and we really appreciate that.
So we're just excited to have these. We're excited that later this winter we'll be having babies, and that next spring we'll actually be able to provide our own pigs, not only to our homestead, but to other people who may want them as well. But we're just excited to be able to raise these right here. We know what they're eating, we know how they're being raised, and it's just going to be a great addition to our homestead. Well, we're so glad that you were able to spend some time with us today, seeing the animals on the homestead. We're excited that Hope has taken on that new calf and that she's now successfully raising both of those calves. She's just such an awesome mom, and I really do think she might be the friendliest cow to ever exist.
We were also excited to share with you guys that we purchased a herd of 10 beef cattle. The herd of cows will be another opportunity for us to earn some income for the homestead by selling their calves or by holding back some of the steers to raise to full size and sell to people who also want grass-fed beef.
And then finally, we're so excited to have the Idaho pasture pigs and finally be breeding our own pigs. We've loved having these guys over the summer. We've loved having the ones that we're raising for meat this year. And we're even more excited to be able to breed them and have babies next spring.
You guys, if you're enjoying our channel, make sure to hit the subscribe button below so that you're notified of all of our new videos. And the best way to help us out here is if you would please share our videos on all of your social media. That would really help us out. Until next time, thank you so much for stopping by our homestead. Take care and God bless.
God bless.